Okay, let's see what it takes to do the My Forces demo app. So that's using a Sprite Kit Force Node to take images on the screen and have them be drawn to that Force Node. Right? So in this case, we're going to take like a video that looks like a black hole, and that black hole will drop on the screen, and it'll drag whatever's on the screen towards it. And you can put a few of the black holes on the screen, and they'll all grab the stuff on the screen, as long as they stay on the screen. Okay. So all the action here is in the game scene. Nothing is done on the storyboard. As soon as we move to view, we set up an array for a segmented control, and that control is going to have the different tap items. So either colored sprites, in this case a sprite, we'll take a look at that. Pictures, which are some family pictures. And then the last two selections will allow the user to see the video that's playing as the black hole video, thanks to the James Webb Telescope, NASA. Okay, so we allocate the segmented control and init with our values here that we put in the array. We're going to put that control in a rectangle, and then when someone selects an item on that control, we'll call our mySwitchChanged IB action. It's just below us, the mySwitchChange method. Whenever the value changed. Okay? And so that'll be whenever someone has pressed a different item here in the view. We're going to always put that value to -1, so it's kind of fresh. When someone selects an item, we'll do our thing and we'll set the selected item back to -1, so the segmented control is nice and fresh looking. Okay. So when the segmented control switches, the first item here is colors, and in this case we put in a bunch of colored sprite nodes. Take a peek at that. There's nothing special there. We're just creating sprite nodes with the different available UI colors. We're setting them to a size that's reasonable for the screen. In this case, the my color sprite size we define up here to be 10 by 10. And we run, we're going to run this in some loops, so we'll create a whole bunch of these sprites. So we run 5 loops with 15 sprites in each. In each case, we set the position of the sprite to be the middle of the screen on the X, and about the top of the screen on the Y. We set that Z position to be a number that's going to put the colored sprites in front of the video. And that's because we use an add blend mode to be real cheap on the phone, so that we can drop lots of sprites in there and not cause the phone to freeze up. Each sprite gets a physics body of its own size, and that's going to allow it to bounce around and knock into other things. That physics body is affected by gravity, and that physics body also has a linear damping set so that it runs slow, it moves around the screen slow, looks cooler. Here's a reference I made earlier to the blend mode add, because that's cheap computationally. That's why we set the Z value. We set a contact bit mask so that we can see what bumps into what and make different sounds. We then add the sprites to the scene. We leave them in the scene for a period of time and remove them with that color sprite action here. If the user selects the next item in the segmented control, we drop a sprite in there. It's an image, JPEG. Use one of your choice. We basically put it up at the top of the screen, in the middle, mid-X, and max Y -1. We give it a physics body. We say it's affected by gravity. We set its scale. We give it a mass. We give it a damping so it slows down. We put it up front in the Z position, and we give it an action, add it to the scene. Okay? Next is the family pictures. Each of those are sitting here in images.xc assets. Some of them are pretty small. That again makes them cheap to use, computationally cheap. For those image assets, we run through a loop. I just run through the loop once. That's all the family pictures I could take was 5, but it'd be 5 at a time. You could run through that loop many times. We create a sprite node with an image now, right, which we've set here from the MySprites array. So the first time it runs through, it gets the first item in the MySprites array, MySprite name, and makes a sprite with MySprite name, which is Danny. And the second time with MySprite name Mike, then Andy, then Cindy, then Dad, and those are all named in images.xc assets. And we do the same thing. We give them a physics body, we give them a mass, we give them a damping value, we give them a z-value so they sit up nice and high over the picture, and we add them into the scene. The next 2 items will display or remove the big video. Okay, and that's the video that we're using for our effects node. I'm not going to explain those. They're self-explanatory, except for this here SKVideo node, which is nice, right? So SpriteKit lets you have a video that plays as a node that you can use in your scenes. Okay. Now is the big neat part with the effect node, and where we're using this SKVideo node again. That video node, now when the user presses the screen, taps the screen, has a field attached to it, a spring field. That spring field is going to suck the other objects in the screen towards it. It gets a position on the screen where the user tapped. It gets a scale. And we don't want to keep it on this screen forever, just for a period of time. So we use my effect sprite action, which is defined up here. It keeps it on the screen for 10 seconds. But with a big range, so the user doesn't know how long it's going to stay on the screen. When it drops off the screen, it'll stop affecting the sprites and they'll fall to the ground, prompting the user to then tap the screen again. Okay? Let's watch that run. Okay, first we'll drop in some colors, some of them colored sprites, and then tap the screen, and that's going to put our little effect node up on the screen. It'll stay up on the screen a period of time. When it removes, the sprites will drop again. Put a new effect node to drag the sprites up, and it stays for a period of time. Now we can drop a few effect nodes, and the combination of their effect will pull the sprites towards them. Okay, we can put some family pictures in there as well, and they'll get affected by this node, get drawn to it. And then, at this point we want to show the user kind of what we're doing. So we play this video. This is a video large in the screen. We'll remove it again. And now for the punchline, we put sprites. We can put sprites in the scene as well. And those are, cans of Sprite, eh? Neat. And they'll get affected by those gravity nodes as well, right? By those spring field nodes as well. All right. Thanks for watching.